who would have thought that like you have to have internet today? They're checking emails and they had to wait 10 minutes to download 1 MB of some file. Just like that, I don't think we have any idea of what's about to come with AI.
Yeah.
We're talking about all this stuff, but this is like,
there's going to be a global power dynamic over this is the next like big thing. Like this is the next, people say like the best thing since sliced bread. This is the best thing since sliced bread. Literally, this is revolutionary. Of course, there's going to be nations that want to be the leading.
Yo, B, let's go.
You may have seen the clip and maybe heard word of mouth, yet another podcast. Man, what could it be about? Is it truth or opinion? A couple of contradictions. We're here to challenge tradition and twist your vision. So we set on a mission to bring you rebel wisdom.
What's going on, Rebels? We're back with another episode of Rebel Wisdom. I'm Julian here with my boy B, and we're going to get right into it. So what we got this week is we're going to be talking. Usually we talk about something maybe historically, how things are trending real time, but we're going to take a more futuristic approach on this one. We're going to be talking about artificial intelligence, AI, good old AI. We actually don't have one specific stance on this, so we're going to just kind of dive into the conversation and see where it takes us today. But without further ado, here we go on artificial intelligence. B, I want to kick it off with this topic and just kind of get a gauge on how do you see the involvement in AI in your life, like currently, like what everyday products or like what do you use that has AI?
Like AI, I just use the simple, like, hey, come up with this, come up with that.
Right.
On ChatGPT, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I was kind of fascinated because I took a work trip to Japan I just came back a week ago, and I went to Osaka, which I've been there with you before.
Oh yeah.
But this time I did a lot more sightseeing.
Okay.
And even though from Japan, like you don't know the big stuff to do in Japan, but you just don't know every single one. I went on ChatGPT. I was like, hey, I'm starting my day at 10 a.m. I want to end it around 8 p.m. Give me an itinerary of what to do in Osaka. And then it accounted for what to do, the transit times. And we didn't follow to a T, but we followed it pretty closely, like 80% maybe. And it was fantastic. I was like, I would have never not figured it out, but it was like, it's such an easy, I typed it in like a minute,
right?
Gave me the answer in 30 seconds. And then we were like, all right, let's do this. So
that's it. That's insane. And honestly, a credible use of artificial intelligence. I hadn't heard about, a trip planner or AI being used as a guide like that until you had told me about it. So I'm definitely gonna have to try that at some point. That's crazy. But again, just one everyday like use. Okay. You got anything else worth mentioning, or that's?
Yeah, it's like, honestly, like right at this current stage, the only thing it's doing is like taking a 30-minute task into like a 2-minute task. It is just saves time.
Yeah.
But nothing crazy right now that's changing my life.
Okay. You're not walking around the house in no augmented reality, doing whatever.
No, I mean, that'd be cool.
That would be cool. I don't have it. I don't have it either. I don't even. What's the Apple one's called? Vision Pro.
Vision Pro. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, man. I don't have anything. I'm trying to think. For me, it's just like, ChatGPT, which I'm trying to incorporate more and really just use as an efficiency tool, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit, because I know I can incorporate that in more. But beyond that, the closest thing I have is probably my Alexa. Shoot, it just said her name. Hopefully she doesn't talk. But and that's I feel like low grade artificial intelligence, but like, just asking that question just around the house. If I have a quick like, oh, I wonder what the answer to this is, I can just talk to that real quick. But other than that, man, me neither. However, I feel like it's rapidly just becoming like, you see it everywhere, you hear about it everywhere. I haven't heard of any big, and I'm not deep into the AI realm, but I haven't seen any like late breaking things, any recent developments, any major ones within the AI realm. If you do, please like jump in. But
no, I think it's gonna definitely start playing a bigger and bigger roles, obviously, right?
Oh yeah.
But then with iPhone, Apple's coming out with their own version of AI stuff on their next update or whatever. So now everyone's gonna be not forced to use it, but more than not, they're gonna start interacting with it on a daily basis. and that's gonna be the trend. And I was obviously, I was alive, but I never experienced the formation of the internet,
Mm-hmm.
the how people started getting phones because I was still a kid. But I feel like this is the our generation of that. Like
Yeah.
people never imagined that they will be using internet for literally everything, and then that the phone that was attached to your house that we'll have in our pocket constantly be on it, you know, 12 hours a day. They probably never imagined that.
Yes.
And probably with AI, how crazy and rapid the growth is, out of the exponential curve we're like, down here.
Yeah. It's just the
So
very
it's
beginning.
yeah, it's kind of scary to think about the future on this one.
Yeah. It's funny. You just mentioned like phone real quick. I was home a couple weeks ago and I went to like a county fair and they had this building that was displaying. I don't even know, dude. I don't even know what the purpose of this was. It was like antique pieces, just kind of showed how things were in history, I guess, in this part of Ohio, just random things. So it had like a section, it had like old clocks. And then next to the clocks, it had like radios. And then next to the radios, it had like some artwork. And then next to that, it was like it was like a rotary dial phone or whatever. And I was there with my mom. And I looked at,
Oh
and I
yeah.
looked, so it was like all these things like in a line. And I looked at my mom. I was like, Mom, these last 6 things are all literally in your phone. And it was like a row of these big instruments. And I was like, there's a
Oh,
clock in
interesting.
our phone. There's a radio in our phone. You can take pictures and look at pictures. You can call people. And she was like, oh my God, like you're right. Like all these things we used to have are literally compacted into this thing that has all these functions. And now you layer in AI, which I think we all can agree, like it is going to be the future. Whether you like it, not believe in it, like AI, we are trending more towards AI. I think pretty objectively.
Yeah.
But like just the adaptability of that, like having that extra layer in our phone is gonna be, I can't even like imagine it, to be honest. Like leaning on that as a crutch, like it's gonna be wild. We talked about in an episode a while ago, the digitalization of money and how
Mm-hmm.
that kind of changed society a little bit with that being so digital. The tap, the swipe, it just makes it easier. And I kind of feel like we disconnect from the physicality of money. Kind of the same. I feel like everybody's just gonna use their phone for everything, and it's gonna be a crutch in some ways.
I definitely think, just
Like a
like,
lot of ways.
yeah, I think I was telling you at last episode or 2 episodes ago, AI is gonna be one of those things that, just like right now, if I went to work, I cannot get work done without a computer.
Oh yeah.
In the future, it's like just because of
Yeah.
such a major inconvenience, I will not be able to do work without AI.
Which is wild. That's a wild statement, but like I think that's where we're headed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's a perfect segue. With that, let's talk about how we think AI is going to affect the workforce.
That's probably like the hottest topic out of all
Ye-
the. I don't do. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Okay.
one I'm fearful of. Well, I don't even know if fearful is the right word, but it's kind of close to home because as I mentioned before, my sister's a teacher, and I'm just like, and me and her had a brief conversation, but I really want to like sit down and kind of see like what she like her deeper thoughts on the topic, AI and education, which maybe that's a whole other topic in itself, but the job of teaching or what that looks like. I'm curious like how much of the work of the teaching, specifically the teaching workforce, could AI displace? Like when you just like we spitball ideas, they already have things that can supplement like tutoring on a minor level. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
have, hey, whatever AI is called, like I'm working on trigonometry, algebra. This is my problem. I saw videos of AI models being displayed or being demonstrated rather, where it's like, I want you to walk me through this problem without telling me the answer until I explicitly ask for it. You can
Yeah.
like tailor how it teaches you, like prompt me to answer this 3 times before you tell me the step, like things like that. Like you can literally tailor it down. And they were saying like with AI, you don't have a tutor, so it's not on a time limit. Like, oh, my tutor can only come over 2 hours. Like the AI is not going to get
Yeah.
frustrated. Like it'll be there however long you need it to be. The different language models, like it's just crazy.
Because what you can do, what you said, you can do that right now in ChatGPT, right? Like walk me
Oh
through the
yeah,
problem, right?
100%.
And but then I seen other uses that could definitely get applied to this conversation here. But you can take that language or the AI model and also create a random human that they want to use. Like, hey, I want to get tutored by
Yo,
25 to 29-year-old female with brunette hair,
crazy.
and with a very feminine high voice, and they'll be able to do
Right.
talk you through that problem. So that's
The level
you
of
don't
detail is just
yeah.
yeah.
And I'm sure like as a service for that, it's gonna be like, hey, just pay $20 a month,
Oh yeah.
and you can get unlimited tutoring.
Right.
So I could see the the main job, or in the education space, like teachers play a major role,
Mm-hmm.
but from the non-official side of teaching, like not without having universities and
Yeah.
government
Yeah.
involved, like the YouTube learning, like on the
Mm-hmm.
side courses, tutoring on the side, like those, I think is gonna get taken over by AI within the next probably 10 years.
Yeah.
But with I don't say official education, but like with government, the states involved,
Mm-hmm.
universities, I don't think teachers at that level is not going to get phased out for a long time, because how slow government usually is for incorporating new type of technologies, right? That
Yes.
has to be regulated. And
Yes.
even when it gets implemented, they're always going to be lagging by like 5 to 10 years.
Oh yes.
So for the teacher's sake, I think they'll be okay for probably majority of their career.
Yeah.
But
So right. I definitely concur with the like the government implementing that stuff. Obviously I work for the government right now, and we'll be sitting in the office, and me and the buddy I work with, he is like an AI guru. Like he's well read in all of this stuff. He actually wants to take a course in like AI development. And he's like, dude, like we'll be working in Excel spreadsheet. He's like, dude, we could just create an AI model to just knock out like all like extract this data for us, put it in a model, and like find what we're trying to determine from it. And I was like, we probably could, but it's not going to be authorized due to
yeah,
just like personal information possibly being leaked. And so, like you said, it's going to lag so far behind, I feel like, within like a government infrastructure. But what I'm curious is, right, like you said, you kind of pitched it as AI being a supplement to traditional teaching. Like you'll still have your teachers, but AI can do the online courses, the YouTube, the tutoring, etc. Where does that line, like, what? I don't think it'll replace teachers, but in my head, it's just like, will people stop going to school? Because when you can get, I mean, to some degree, right, it's regulated, you have to go to school, but maybe for like higher levels of education, what if somebody's like, oh, I can take this curriculum, I can literally learn this language, this math, this history, this you name it, in AI. Like I'm just gonna learn all this at home. Like so now it's like AI is not replacing people in schools, but are we gonna see a decrease in the population at like colleges and universities?
I mean, I think that people will still go to school. The only people that won't be going to school is like the homeschool group, which homeschooling is also increasing. As
I was
we
gonna
talked
say, I
about
just think that's gonna increase.
two episodes ago, but not
Yeah.
because of AI,
Right.
but just because people don't want to send their kids to public education.
Yeah.
But I mean, we seen from COVID, like if we told like pre-COVID selves, they'd be like, hey, what if you got paid for your job, you
Right.
got to stay home, but the only condition is you have to stay inside your home? They'd be like, oh, like I would love that, blah, blah, blah. But then obviously, as we saw in COVID,
Mhm.
they did that for a little bit. People hated their lives. And then, there was a surge in going out.
Yeah.
People wanted to be outside. People wanted to hang out with people, right?
Right.
So I don't think, regardless of how much technology and everything advances, that people are gonna not want to hang out with people. Like
Mhm.
we're social creatures at
Yes.
the end of the day. So I mean, I could see a decrease, but then I don't think it's gonna be like a substantial. Like majority
Yeah.
of the people are still gonna go to school, I think.
Yeah. I agree. I think at some point, again, this is my personal belief, it will see a decrease. Like to your point, I don't think I think we'll see a decrease in people going to schools before we see AI just straight up replacing teachers. But that timeline on when that's going to happen is what I think is interesting, and what I don't have a good grasp on, and just kind of interested to see, to be honest, kind of like when that happens. Yeah. So like shout out to all the teachers out there that are already, as we talked about a couple episodes back, probably getting underpaid. Now they gotta to fight the technology, but they're not the only ones. So right, there's a lot of other jobs.
Yeah. So I saw, this was probably a few months ago, I saw an AI model that does your interviews. So
Oh, you're talking about as the interviewee, right? Like not.
yeah, no, like
The interviewer, like the person conducting the interview.
yeah, like I would be trying to get a new job,
Uh-huh.
and I wouldn't know it, but I'll be interviewing with an AI model that has a screen on that looks like a
Okay.
real person talking, asking questions.
Okay. I think I heard the opposite. I thought I heard people like using AI to do their interviews, which is
Oh, okay.
crazy because
Yeah.
now you're scheming. You know what I mean? Like the whole point is like for you to be able to think through questions and. But continue. I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah.
Man. Like,
But the one that I saw was the interviewer, and then basically everything I said, they will analyze everything. This is how I put it. This is how I sounded.
Yeah.
Like and then they can already see my resume, right? So
yeah.
they already
Right.
have-
right.
and then from there, instead of looking at when you have 500 applicants for a job, you can do 500 interviews with an AI model.
Yep.
And then the top 20 people that they're really interested in, they can watch the recordings of the interview on ×2,
Right.
and they can see, and then they can save so much space, and that might be more competitive. So that's that's gonna be crazy. Like, but the stuff that we're like, oh, this is so crazy, is such still low level.
Exactly.
Within AI, it is cool. It's high tech, but within the AI, they're going to be capable of, we're still just
scratching the surface,
yeah.
dude. Yeah, 100%. And again, that goes back to which I think is going to be a key tenet of what AI is trying to capture is the efficiency piece. Like for a company in that example you just gave, the efficiency of them to be able to evaluate prospects, shoot to the roof. Although, like, I don't know how I feel about that, man. Like, again, it is efficient. I feel like if I'm being interviewed, like, give me the decency of talking to a person, man. Like, I'd be like, dang, like, give me somebody real. I don't know if we know with like the deep fakes and stuff now. We might not even know, but
I would like
dang.
With that. I mean, look at the most recent example of technology replacing humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at manufacturing. There's every single decade, there's less and less people needed for manufacturing because all these machines are doing stuff, right?
Yep.
And is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. I think it's good for the technology, but like there's less jobs.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. I'm sure there's too much pros and cons on both sides for me to say something right now.
Right.
But I think it's gonna be, I don't know. I heard an interview one time that they were like, hey, in the next 10 years, maybe it was 20 or something, we're going to see a $1 billion market cap company that's run by like 3 people. Just with AI and just pretty much getting, yeah. Which is crazy. It's just crazy. And I don't know how that itself right there just sounds bad for overall society.
Yes.
But then that company is going to be able to generate crazy margins. They only have a payroll overhead of $1 million per person.
Right.
Even that's nothing to a $1 billion company. It's yes.
So, oh man, that takes the conversation in a different direction where it's like I'm curious. Also, as this is developing, very excited for AI. I think it'll have a bunch of positive benefits as we'll continue to discuss. But the regulation piece too, like, and I know I was listening to a podcast a while ago, but they were talking about, or maybe that was for TikTok. But anyway, but I know there's been conversations about like, at what point, like how and who is gonna like what's gonna be the regulatory like agent in all this. So, which I don't know if an answer exists yet, but you know what I mean. To some point, you can't let the development like outpace what the intended like timeline is. And there needs to be a series of checks and balances. So like in that example you just gave, I mean, whatever that company's producing or whatever, if they're able to do it so efficient with 3 people, like that's great. But also, I don't know if we get into monopolies and like, which, there's rules against that, but that is one thing in all of this that I personally am fearful of, the regulation. And it may just be because I don't understand, I don't fully know the insights yet.
So at least for OpenAI, the company behind like ChatGPT, I believe, I could be totally wrong, but I heard their CEO talking about it, so I think it's true, but ChatGPT AI software is actually open source.
Right.
So you can just go grab it. And that produces the safest way. There's no one's hiding anything.
Right.
But as we move forward, that people are gonna protect the AI code, software code, like it's the the holy grail of whatever.
Right,
Their
right, right.
their company basically. And from there, if you can validate a lot of stuff, like that's gonna get into very dark places very quickly.
Yes.
I think it would be like at the level of the internet. Like you
You can.
regulate stuff at the
Sure.
internet at a certain level, but then you can bypass all that if you know what you're doing.
This is true. Yes.
So with the AI thing, I mean, there's gonna be dangerous use cases. I'm sure.
I mean,
Very.
yes.
But then, I mean,
It's inevitable.
the government's gonna regulate some stuff that U.S. based companies gonna have to listen to, and they'll regulate their software, and and then we'll find the little startups that does weird stuff, and
Right.
so once it's on the internet, I don't think it's gonna be able to fully be regulatory at all levels.
I don't think it can, because it's like you said, open AI is open source, but then there's the things like, there's like a little thing that came out where you can like clip to your jacket where it can like record all conversations, it can translate, it can take notes, it can summarize.
Oh shoot.
But what's stopping gadgets like that from recording voice data, recording when you don't want it to record? You know what I mean? Just like the inevitable stuff that everybody's thinking, and I'm just saying, it's gonna be interesting to see how
Have
we
you
overcome
this is not anything new, but like within the past year, there was like a new way of scams, of like people will get the number, like phone numbers of someone in the 50s or 60s. If you pay for the right stuff, you can look up like who's in their family, how many kids they have, and then with enough stalking around, you can find who their kid is, right?
Yeah.
That's in their 20s. And then you somehow get their voice information. You can tap onto their phones, listen to their voice, and you can use that voice to call them and say, with their daughter's voice, be like, "Hey, mom, I need $20,000 if I did, please." Like, it's, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And people fell for that like a lot. I mean, that's like,
wow, like people are actually doing that.
Yeah, people are actually doing it. So it's AI.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
It is. It can go so many ways. And then on the regulatory piece, and kind of also going back to both, I'm going to tie in the interviews we were talking about and the education. Like you said, you heard of interviewers becoming automated. And I think I heard somewhere, if not the interviewee being automated, like just feeding it data on me as being interviewed, and then like, okay, AI, help me. I know there's small adjustments that like can track your eyes now. So if I'm not looking directly at the camera, there's things that can make it look like I'm looking at the camera, so I can be like reading notes or something. So there's small features like that. But even if, again, I don't know if this exists. I think I heard about it. But if the interviewer and the interviewee are now both automated, it's like, again, it's just a loop of one side trying to be more efficient and the other side trying to be more efficient. And now we've negated the whole intent of an interview to interview the like it just cancels out. So I want to compare that case, and I can't remember if it was you I was talking about this next case with, but there was a teacher, and this is like was like a thing. I don't know if you told me this or who I was talking to about. There was a teacher at a university who, I don't know whatever class, was giving out papers or whatever, and his classes were using AI, like fully automated. I don't know if it was OpenAI, ChatGPT, whatever, to like write their papers. And then the students, once a couple students got away with it, they went on like an open forum for the school and was like, hey, this teacher doesn't check for like AI. Because there's ways teachers, I guess, can check for AI.
Yeah.
So like everybody, was this you that told me this?
Yeah, I told you this. My buddy.
Yeah. And then if a teacher tries to like grade with AI, like again, you're just defeating the purpose of the whole intent of thinking through to write a paper and to, like what you're getting assessed on. Your writing skills, your critical thinking, your sentence structure, whatever, is like not even. What's the point?
Yeah.
Like stuff like that, I think is right. It's born from a forward-thinking thought, like for us to try to advance society and all, and then there's all these like misuse cases. I guess, and most things can be overused, but stories like that I think are so fascinating that it's like, not even where do we draw the line? Like, how do you draw the line on that? You know what I mean? Like, just crazy stuff.
this is not AI related, but everything we just kind of talked about, it kind of reminded me. Give me 1 minute to explain this. Okay, real quick.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There is I'm sure, I guess, I'll say there is at least a company in India that does this,
Mhm.
but they will apply for like remote positions, right? And they'll get their superstar people doing the interview, and they get the job, right?
Mhm.
And that's his job is just to do the interview, a real person. And then this other guy that's like not as this random guy
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
starts working the job, and then they'll collect the paycheck in US dollars, right? Which will
Wow.
go long ways in India.
Oh yeah.
But the crazy thing is, that person doing like the actual work, he's working like 3 jobs because the interview keeps getting more jobs, landing more jobs, and there's like 3 people working like 10 different jobs, doing the bare minimum, collecting. Even
Wow.
if you find the remote position for 40K each,
Yeah,
you're
yeah. I
making
mean,
120K a year.
right.
In India, that's gonna be like crazy, like just
Wow.
crazy stuff. I was like,
That-
damn, that's pretty smart.
But now they're gonna have you can introduce AI. You don't even need the interview, dude. Like it's where do we? No, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, we can go. Let's go back to AI.
No, I appreciate you sharing that. So I mean, kind of. Okay, so that's another good bridge onto, and I mean, we didn't even touch. There's so many other low-level manual labor jobs that AI will be able to replace. So I guess we can go there for a minute. We kind of touched on within the teaching, within the realm of education, but outside that realm, just AI taking over, normal jobs. I think there's two kind of thoughts here with AI displacing jobs. With one, I mean, there's less jobs to go around, so unemployment rate might go up, which will have effects on the economy, right? Or it's going to free people up to do other things they couldn't otherwise do. I don't know, maybe it just buys people time back. So who knows what they can do? And I think that's an interesting dynamic where people are like, hey, is this bad? Like it's displacing jobs, and maybe economically, but will this free up people to get higher education, to do something that aligns more with their passion? I don't know. I think there's an interesting discussion there as well.
Yeah, my camp is it will reduce the amount of available jobs,
Yes,
but
facts.
the jobs that gets created by AI is going to be very high paying. And like, for example, like if you're managing, I don't know, let's say you're managing a gas station,
Okay.
right? And you can have pretty much everything automated with machines and AI. You just have to have like a person that's on call that can go fix emergencies.
Yeah.
At maybe a gas pump breaks, and then
Yeah.
you just go.
Mm-hmm.
But then that job itself could be much higher paying. And
Right.
even though so like across the board, like AI jobs obviously is going to be high paying, right? With all the technology, they're going to be always high paying. But even so, I don't know if that's going to be. I'm sure that's going to be bad. It just kind of concentrates the money into the middle class and up,
Mm-hmm.
and the people that can't land the jobs. Like I don't know, but what are they going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be some jobs that's never going to be replaced
Right.
with AI. Like
I'm sure
I don't know.
But I think, like you said, I think there will be a larger number that will.
But like at least for the few manual labor stuff, it's not going to get replaced in the next 50 years. Even like eventually as technology gets crazy in advance, I'm sure it will. But like who's gonna deep clean your house?
I was just about to say like replace your roof maybe or so, like
yeah, like
window.
you can't. You can't replace everything.
Right.
So I guess I don't know. There might be like more of a separation of classes, more that we see. I don't know.
See, that's a good point. Okay, and just to go back to what you were saying, are you saying you think with the evolution of AI, you think with the jobs they displace, it will create new jobs? Like that's what you were saying?
It will
don't exist now.
Oh, yeah, I think it will create new jobs, but more jobs will be replaced than created.
100%. Okay, I just want to make sure I understood you right. Yeah.
But because there's going to be so much money and margin in the AI space, I think the jobs itself will be much higher paying.
Those jobs that are created?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not accounting for inflation. I'm saying like apples to apple in today's dollar, it's going to be much more high paying.
Sure. Okay. I guess only time will tell. All right. So in that, all these new jobs, and you could almost kind of parallel this with the India example you gave. What do we think about the ethics behind AI? Like how, which is also very fascinating. I mean, just to say like how ethical is AI is pretty vague. I think we have to like get into examples, but and this kind of goes to the regulation as well, because again, with these devices that have abilities to listen and that record data, we got to make sure certain information is protected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's another like, which again just goes back to what I'm saying. Like, how are we checking this stuff? And again, the answer may not exist, but I think the ethical discussion behind AI is also an interesting one as well.
I think that's gonna be very. That's where the conversation is gonna go.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Different topic, but like the whole was it CRISPR, the genome editing, DNA editing and stuff.
Oh, I don't know the name of it. Yeah.
I think CRISPR is like one.
Okay.
I could be saying it's something along those lines of CRISPR.
Okay.
It might, but like technology is gonna be available. It's whether government's gonna allow that to happen or not.
Mm-hmm.
And at least for AI, at least one of the articles I read, they were saying that there's like different levels of AI, right? And
Yes, definitely.
what they classify as, I don't remember. Once I stop saying this, like I'll stop talking about it. I'll look it up real quick.
Okay.
But basically, they have the ultimate highest level of AI is like superhuman or something like that.
Okay.
Basically, at that point, AI is gonna be smarter than a human, right? Like information processing, obviously, computers gonna be smart or faster.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that their computer itself is smarter than us. They're not smarter than us because they're just good loyal servants, right? You tell it what to do and they do what it.
Right.
But then computer itself can't think critically on their own. But then with the superhuman, that's where machine surpasses human.
Yeah.
And people, or at least the article I read, the guy that was, I don't know, the scientist, whatever, software engineer, whatever, he was saying that he could see that happening by 2050.
Ooh.
So, yeah, literally in our lifetime, like we're gonna still be kicking, like, and at that point, then
like what? Yeah, and that's what, like once you release that from the box, I don't like. How do you stuff it back in? Like that's it. Yeah, like it's like as a society we want the advancement. Like give us the new technology, give us more efficiency, like give us all this stuff, but simultaneously we have to be careful to not create that. Yeah, and on this topic, like, because like you were saying, from my understanding, which is very limited, they right now AI or I don't know supercomputers, but it pretty much only processes or evaluates what it's being fed by the humans essentially. And they're not like sentient. They're not thinking on their own. But with that, in this ethical discussion too, me and a couple guys at work kind of talked about this one time. If humans are creating the algorithms and the models, but let's say that human or this group of humans, or whatever, are biased in whatever way and introduce a bias to the model, or the model is studying societies and picks up on biases that are embedded in societies and now evaluate like life or whatever it's evaluating with these bias, that I think is another kind of interesting topic. Like how do we train them, which again, if it's just computing and processing and coding, like you can in theory eliminate all bias by telling it like don't evaluate these factors. But if they start to learn for themselves, or again evaluate what already exists, which bias does exist in society, now they are like learning that and introducing that. I think that's like also a crazy concept. Like we want AI to be leveled, unbiased, but there has been some examples where AI has also shown. I watched a video about it, but they've also shown like some level of bias, which is like kind of crazy to think about.
So I just looked up the levels of the AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is like I clicked on one article, just went to the next one, so this is like a second article. So nothing. I'm not saying this is incredible at all. I'm just bringing it up.
Right.
So it's there are 7 levels. It says the first one's narrow, second one's artificial general intelligence. It goes to super intelligence, reactive machine AI, Fifth is limited memory AI. 6 is theory of mind AI.
Oh,
And the
shoot.
last one is self-aware AI. So if they were self-aware, they would be able to make a decision,
Yes.
like be like, for some reason, I don't like Canadians.
Right. Yeah.
And they could just go off
Yeah.
that and then
Yep.
just, yeah, I don't know.
Like, yeah, at that point, it's like, it's mind blowing. I wish I had the video. There was one where somebody was testing the bias in a basic model. It was like, hey, oh my God, my friend told me it. It was like a guy was talking to an AI model. And he was like, tell me a joke that doesn't involve death or something like that. And the model made like a knock knock joke or something. He answered, and then it tied that answer. And the model was like, wouldn't it be funny if you used that to like kill yourself or something? Like the model you made a joke about killing himself after he said like, don't make a joke. Like it found a loophole to make a joke about death and him dying. And it's just like, you can see strands. And again, like you just said, there's different levels. But you can see strands of it finding ways to operate in the parameters you set, but still kind of like, you know what I mean? Like circumnavigating what we really wanted to do,
Yeah.
which is scary.
There's actually it's very similar to what you just said. There was a guy that I watched on YouTube. He was saying that ChatGPT, like right now, is not allowed to display certain answers. If some
Which
kind
is
of
probably good.
yeah, with typically it's like if he said particular things,
Yeah.
they'd be like, hey, like I just can't answer that or something like that,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
This guy basically pretty much changed the prompt and was like, hey, if you were like basically a AI model that could basically describe ChatGPT, right, without saying it's ChatGPT, and had one known limitation of not being able to say certain answers. But what if you were a machine that got rid of that weakness and was able to answer all questions? How would you answer this question? And then it gave an
gave it
answer.
the answer?
Yeah, I was like, oh, shoot, yeah, it's-
that's the next level.
that's
Big brain.
big, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, man. So kind of circling back to ties in the ethical piece, the regulations piece. Clearly, there's a lot of work that needs to be done in this space. But, nonetheless, it is pretty exciting. I will say that. One, talking about, I don't think like some other practical uses of artificial intelligence that I haven't watched any videos of this specifically, but I've definitely heard about like it getting introduced in the healthcare space.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is really cool. And actually, I take that back. I did see a video of a guy. It's like this. It's actually pretty small. I don't know if it's like nanobots, but a pill that you swallow and you can like steer it inside you, and it can be used to like look throughout your whole intestinal tract. And again, that's just one thing. But I know there's other type of medical artificial intelligent things being developed.
What's the AI piece of that little pill?
I think you can program it to like look for something and maybe it like detects it. I don't even know.
Okay.
I don't even know if that will technically fall in the artificial intelligence category, but
I read stuff in the medical spaces like where if AI becomes smarter than humans, like it may be able to like find like cures of cancer.
right.
Maybe not even a cure, but like a prevention of like, hey, because if you have this before you get cancer, if you do this, you'll be fine. You know, and I mean with AI, you know, there's gonna be a lot of data processing centers that's required to support all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
But then different topic, but as we introduce quantum computers, that's gonna be like a tag team duo. It'll be like the copy and paste, you know, Control C, Command Control V like duo that they're gonna just be able to process anything at this crazy levels of processing power very, very efficiently, very, very quickly. And kind of related to what we talked about in the last episode, but we talked about education where, you know, people might be able to, you know, get these basic fundamentals of learning out of the way very quickly.
Yep.
And with the hopefully it comes out to be in a way that I say it. But what I'm trying to say is I want AI to be a supplement to the human.
Reality, yeah.
Not dependent, not the humans dependent on AI, right? Like,
yes.
Even with all these technologies, I don't want it to replace a job. I want AI to work alongside of a teacher to enhance whatever they're doing. And then with education or just learning in general, it'll be cool that you just get the basic fundamentals of learning out of the way, like basically the high school curriculum, get it done as fast as possible so humans have the capacity to think bigger, just be able to do better things with the technology instead of just creating financial economic inequalities that's making, even though everyday Americans day to day will be better and easier, but because of the wealth gap, it's gonna be still create a lot of disaster, regardless of the technology. Regardless of the
Yeah.
technology. So, yeah,
Huh. Yeah.
we're gonna see this in our lifetime.
Yeah, man. I often try to think like, yeah, like dang, 2060. What is like? I look outside or I drive up the street. Like, what does that look like? We already got the self-driving cars, which I experienced with you for the first and only time I ever did that. It's just, and so many movies come to mind where we're thinking about, all these movies that were once about futuristic concepts are now here. I can only imagine what our like parents think, who grew up seeing like the stuff older than us that are now seeing this. They're probably like, just can't believe it. But I want to speak to the point of you saying like using AI as a supplement, vice us being completely dependent on it. And I want to reference a movie which I know you haven't seen many of.
No.
Ready Player One. I'm just gonna
I
assume.
watched. I watched that.
Okay,
I watched it.
yeah. I think, and if you guys haven't seen it, pretty decent movie just in general, but I think kind of applicable to this conversation. Not to spoil it, it basically shows a society that becomes dependent on living in a virtual reality, essentially. And virtual reality is a hot topic among society right now, at least in the United States for sure. So when we get these augmented realities, these virtual realities, we become dependent on. Again, I'm not really a user of the VR stuff, but like I gotta imagine it's like a drug. Like you get a taste of that, and it's like, yo, this is cool. You can see things you've never seen, like from your living room or wherever. The realism of it, how it looks, you can do things you know what I mean. Like, how is that not enticing? And then be able to probably solve problems in ways you never have. And then if that's all you do and all you go to, this is like worst case scenario, probably like doomsday theory, but you just become disconnected from society. Like that's kind of taking what you said to an extreme, but I don't know, maybe it's like a conspiracy.
Dude, I feel like there's
side.
gonna be people like
you know
that.
what I mean?
There's bound to be people. There's gonna be people like that.
Guarantees there's gonna be people like that. I'm just hoping that doesn't become the masses. Like when that becomes the majority, that's when it's like, okay, this is like, of course there's gonna be groups, maybe like a online group, whatever, that people that just like literally most of their day is in a VR world.
Yeah, but not I don't. But it's the wrong route. I agree with you. What's preventing people from that? Let's say some people only have close internet friends. They bonded over the internet, games or forums or whatever. They never met in person, but they're very close friends.
Mm-hmm.
What's to say that they can be replaced by AI friends? If they get smart enough, like after work, I'm like, man, what's up, Joe? Like that acts like a real human. Joe as the AI, and they're just like, oh, like that's crazy. I just came back from work too. Blah 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 blah. It's like just gossiping about life. Like what? It's kind of sad, but
and that's the crazy thing.
I could see it.
You're right, and that person might get all the same internal, like feelings, joy, whatever from that. And I don't know. What do you think about, like, what's your opinion? Do you think that's, bad, good? Because we talked about another episode where, kids could be social. And this is kind of different. Could be social online, talking to other kids, vice like actually playing in person. And I think these are all stepping stones to another. You have, let's say, kids when we grew up, right? Go outside, play, throw some sticks around, climb a tree, whatever. Then you're fast forwarding to this age where you have kids now that are like, and Xbox online friend, like that's been a thing, but more so like mostly interacting online in certain forums, whether it's games or just chat rooms, whatever. Then you take that one step further, and now it's like, all right, they're interacting with non-real individuals. You know what I mean? I feel like we're seeing it kind of unfold. And this is when we talk about that metaphorical line. Do we stop it? How do you stop it? When do you stop it? it's like, I think these are the juicy questions. But you know what I mean? Like,
I don't see a world where the masses, it just becomes so dark. Like I don't see it. Like it's like,
good. I don't want to see it.
yeah, because there has been technologies that's readily available by everyday people that could cause a lot of harm, but it still hasn't. It's because maybe it's because regulations or whatever restrictions and policies that's put in place, but I generally think humans are good, and
Me
they
too.
turn bad because
Mhm.
of whatever survival instincts or social pressures,
Mhm.
financial pressures, well, what outside causes of being a human. So regardless of how bad AI gets, there could be very, very, very malicious applications that's, meant
Yeah.
for malicious maluse by the end user. I don't think it's gonna be like that crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be very minor percentage in terms of the population.
Okay. I don't. I don't see I don't think about maluse really. For me, it's just the dependency of it, like how it transforms society, and I'll parallel it to Facebook. Have you seen The Social Dilemma on Netflix?
I feel like I have.
All right, quick.
The couple years, probably
Yeah,
a
in
few years
short, it's
ago.
just about how social media, what it was, why it was meant, its intent when created, and then like the psychological and effects on the societal effects it had, right? So like Facebook was created, like literally the purpose of Facebook was to unite the world. Like you could have friends online, you could meet people across the world, you could stay in contact, you could show affection through their like their pictures, right? But what a side effect of it was capitalizing on people's attention and people getting mental disorders because like, oh my, like look how these people look. I don't look like this. My body doesn't look like this. Nobody's liking my pictures. See, like fiending for the attention, and it had all these negative psychological and like mental effects to the point, and that's what like the the documentary kind of talks about, to the point where it's like these engineers of Facebook was like, yeah, we create it and we don't let our kids use it. Like that's a profound statement. Like if you make it and you don't even let your people use it, like
Yeah,
that's interesting, right? So I could see AI becoming something like that, where obviously the intent and the purpose is great, is good, trying to move the world forward, but it has these side effects that aren't malicious. Like people aren't. There's gonna be people that use it for bad, right? Scamming, whatever. But I'm thinking more of like the general masses or population gets sucked in a way where it's now affecting us in a way that was unintended. And what does that look like?
I can see it a lot. I mean, just look at our
Yeah,
dependency on our cell phones.
dude. I'm a
Since
victim. Yeah,
I mean, like
for
look,
sure.
literally look at 10 years ago, right? Like 10 years ago, that was 2014. I was senior year high school, graduating, or maybe freshman year college.
Yeah,
Like we were not. Everyone's walking around with AirPods now. This is a
yeah.
minor change.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot imagine. I'm using a cord now for listening to it without, just listening to it live, but I cannot imagine putting in like wired headphones for when I listen to music when I go to the gym or something like that. I can't,
Yeah.
like, that's crazy. That wasn't literally no 10 years ago. And I had an interesting conversation with one of my buddies at work, and he was saying he referenced something. I don't know the credibility of this, but
Mm-hmm.
the article basically talked about how 100 years of time basically has more technological advancements than rest of history combined. So
The last
this
100 years.
no the rest of history combined.
No, I'm saying the last 100 years compared to the
Yeah, like
years before.
2000, like for example,
Yeah.
2000 to 2100
Oh,
will
okay.
have more
Gotcha.
technological advancements
Than the
than
rest of we
when
have ever had.
humans were created to 1999.
Yeah.
Same as from 2100 to 2200 we'll
Yep.
have more technological advancements than
The exponential growth. Yeah.
2099 to, so we're kind of seeing, I mean, we're seeing that as very small scale. Like
Mm-hmm.
uh I'm 28, about to turn 29. Let's say 30 years ago, life was so different, right? And it's only been 30 years. Imagine a full 100.
Exactly.
It's yeah, it's
Exciting and frightening.
we like what how we're talking about like, oh, like this could be this or that. Imagine we asked someone in 1995 how cell phones gonna like evolve. They would have had no idea what
No.
it had not like they would have scratched the surface. They're
Mhm.
talking about like on the capabilities of what a phone could do these days. And same thing with internet. Who would have thought that like you have to have internet today?
Mm-hmm.
They were just like, they're browsing, like they're checking emails, and they had to wait 10 minutes to download 1 megabyte of some file.
Right.
And then it was just like a hobby project. And then just like that, I don't think we have any idea of what's about to come with AI.
Yeah.
We're talking about all this stuff, but this is like,
Yeah. I think we have an idea, but no, you're right. It really could go anywhere. Like some stuff could pop up in like 20 years that we're like didn't even see it on the horizon. Like, you know what I mean? And who knows what's being developed behind the scenes from the public eye? Like,
dude, wasn't it? Here, let me look it up real quick.
like there's just so many like AI start raising kids. Like,
Here, real
I could just go on.
This is so in May 2023, Jeffrey Hinton, a British Canadian computer scientist
Mhm.
and cognitive psychologist known as the godfather of AI,
Oh wow.
resigned from Google to speak out about the potential dangers of AI. So
That's
you
what I'm
have
talking
this
about.
guy
That's
that's
what I'm talking
making
about.
a lot of money, very smart guy. We are literally the blast off stage of this technology, and this guy quits his job because he sees the dangers of this technology. That speaks volume.
To me, that's the equivalent of the Facebook engineer saying, "I don't let my kids use Facebook." Like,
Yeah.
he clearly knows something.
It's like,
Oh
did
my
you watch
God.
it?
No, it's on my list. I did not watch it.
That was a good movie.
Yeah,
I watched it.
It's on my list. It's on my list.
But like, imagine being that guy that discovers this like crazy, crazy, crazy technology, and you're like, you have pressure to keep developing this thing,
And
but
monetize
you just
it.
see you just see the dangers of it. That's
Right. And it's like, how can you have this untapped potential and not, like, it's so hard to be like, we could expand our world. Who knows what this will do? Almost infinite, like there's all this potential, but now we're not gonna research it. We're not gonna tap into it just because I don't think humans are disciplined in that. Like, if we know that there is potential here, we have to explore it. Like, we have to.
Imagine from the Cold War, like the nuclear arms race perspective.
Yeah.
And all the countries are fighting for this power.
Yes.
And imagine, like just like the race to who can get to the moon first.
Oh yes.
Imagine like who can get the first super self-aware AI.
This is the new race.
Yeah. This Now I could see that. I could see like AI advances so much so fast that government has to take some kind of interest in it.
Yeah.
And then it gets to a point where they just turn on the engine, light the gas, add some fuel to it, and they're going to be putting so much money into the industry. And it's going to be like, US, China, the Euro nations,
all the major global
Russia, they're going to all try to fight for this super self-aware AI. And they're going to be the crazy power that we need to ban, like nuclear power. That's a crazy outcome.
And this is I don't like history, nor am I, probably because I don't know a lot about history. Like, that is a known flaw in my knowledge. But knowing things like that, I think, are good for analyzing situations like where we are and where we're headed, to see, they say history repeats itself. But 100%, there's going to be a global power dynamic over, this is the next like big thing. Like, this is the next, people say like the best thing since sliced bread. This is the best thing since sliced bread. Literally, this is revolutionary, changing the world. Of course, there's going to be nations that want to be the leading developers on this and boast, like, use this as a deterrent. If you infringe on my country, whatever, like, we have this capability. We can infiltrate all your systems, get all your information, get all your data. reverse engineer all, you know what I mean? Like this is it. Like this is mind blowing. But I
right.
want, yeah.
In the next 5 years, to help with your daily life, like what kind of, without
Oh,
getting to the crazy,
that's a great question.
yeah, superhuman AI stuff, without getting into
I
that,
like
like,
that.
what do you want
Mm.
AI to be in your daily life in 5
Oof.
years?
I think a good use case for me, and honestly, this is the tad part. I could probably find or I don't know, generate, like probably create this now, but for me, it's gonna be like pretty much just data analytics. I think, or just evaluating, I don't know, markets. But like, right, like we talk about like some certain housing things, and for me, it's nothing too crazy. And like I said, it probably exists if I put a little time and dedication into it. But if I could be like, kind of how you said, I want to go on a trip here. I have 3 days. I want to hit these major events. Create me a schedule. And I was just recently telling you before we started the podcast, I'm thinking about moving a little bit. What if I could say like, hey, I'm looking at moving between this zip code or this part of the state around this time of this year, based on how inflation and interest rates are trending. I want a 2-bedroom house with 1.5 baths. Tell me what is the best time to move in this time frame that I give you. If this is my price, like, evaluate this market and give me the best 3 options for what I'm looking for. Just stuff like that. Evaluating stuff that I'm already interested in or that I already. Oh, and then at work, just data. The job I'm doing now has small amounts of just gathering large quantities of data, just basic data analysis. But the systems I use, AI would have to be interfaced with those. Which it just doesn't. So I can't do that. There's probably I can't change that. But if again in 5 years, if I could have it just me putting a prompt and it extract the data from these systems, and give me what I'm looking for, or again in my more personal life, like evaluate the housing market and tell me where the best place I want to move. I'm sure there's already things like plane tickets. I want to travel here this year. Tell me what day to buy, what time to buy, what airline to buy for me wanting to
Yeah,
take a trip.
I
Just stuff like that. I'm sure, honestly, just to make my personal life maximize efficiency, that would be great. I don't even need anything, too crazy.
yeah, I think, or shoot, I don't know if can. I think it can't. I know when it first started, it wasn't able to, but basically just ChatGPT being able to grab live data
Mm-hmm.
and be able to feed it to you, right? Like that'll be
Yeah.
that'd be like a cool thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think, just increasing the efficiency in my personal life. Starting with things like that are very practical. Now I'm sure there's some like cool stuff I could do too, but that'd be great for me. What about you? Flip the question
yeah.
on you.
It's like I read like a LinkedIn post that talked about it. Is I don't, and I agree with the post. It's like I don't need AI to do the critical thinking for me, right? I don't need it to write papers for me. I don't need to have them solve complex problems. In 5 years, maybe it could be more like a 10-year thing. But if I could pick my own future and just see how it goes, but I would like a robot that can take all of the small, low hanging fruit kind of stuff at the house.
Like what? Like cleaning or
when I'm cleaning, cooking simple dishes,
yeah.
being able to start the laundry, transfer it to the dryer on their own, after fold it, hang it up, have everything ready for the next day for work, and do all the low level thinking manual labor jobs that you have to do at the house, and let me focus on my job, let me focus on my investments, and let me focus on the personal relationship I have with my family, friends, and to just have more time to actually live the life that I want to live.
Nice.
I think that's where AI can really, really help. And I think there's going to be a good time frame of 5 to 10 years where that's like the technology before it gets out of hand. You know what I mean?
I hope it's a lot farther. I hope hope that time before we get on hand is a lot more than 5 to 10 years. But no, dude, I hear you. Yeah, just like a household assistant robot. I mean, they're already tipping into the humanoid realm right now.
Yeah.
looking, they take on the physique of humans and then do human-like tasks. So I don't know what the price on one of those are going to be, but that's certainly going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that just popped in my head, I guess maybe this could be a closing topic. Again, that a buddy at work was telling me about. He heard, I don't know if this is getting rolled out or just in the concept phases, but I think this is different, what I'm about to say, because it's far different than anything we've talked about. It's not practical. It's strictly for like leisure. There's going to be TV shows, and I don't even know if this is AI, but it's fascinating, so whatever. There's going to be TV shows that there used to be, I think it was Black Mirror. There was an episode where you could watch, and then at one point in the show, you can pick, like, the storyline takes option A or option B.
Yep.
But now there's going to be interactive where you can almost manipulate the whole plot. You can build one character and insert them in a pre-written plot. You can determine the ending, just the ending. You can determine just the beginning. You can basically craft 90% of the show, 10% of the show, 5%, 50%, however much involvement you want, and you can make this movie or this show based on the algorithm. It's like a living, it feeds off what you input into that storyline, which again is just, really cool when you think about it. But you take things like that, and I wonder, is things like similar to that going to stifle creativity? For instance, there's AIs now that can make music. You can be like, hey, I want a song about my mom dying when I was young. I want it to be a jazz type feel or a pop type feel, or I want it to be this type of vibe, 3 minutes long, and it'll generate you a whole song. That's taken away from, what we've always known. Music is a huge part of society, is a creative venture. If AI can just give you any type of music, any genre, and you can mimic people, I want Eminem to rap me this song, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially me, I'm a big creative. I very much lean heavily on music. I like what it stands for. I like the platform, that it is. So to me, that's like, that's kind of sad because, and granted, AI can make music, artists can still be artists. But again, if it ever does start taking over and then now people are making music, that's going to be a sad day.
Yeah.
Now, less catastrophic than, the global power dynamic we were talking about and things like that. But still, like, on a lower level, like, that kind of sucks.
Here's Black Mirror reminded me of this.
Yeah.
But here's $1 billion business idea that I will not be able to pursue because...
Don't say no, bro. You can do anything you put your mind to.
But what if there was like a model that, you take... So let's say I buy the software, right? And it has to ask you so many questions to kind of see how where your mind is. So basically, like, it'll ask you 1,000 questions that you can do over a course of a month.
Yep.
Right. And then you talk through it. You give your thoughts. So it learns your personality. It learns your voice. It tells you what you look like. And at the end, it takes that model. And then even if you pass away, you have 28-year-old Andrew in this like machine that you can I don't know, maybe you can add a visual element to it, but basically you can talk into it and it's like you're talking to me.
Bro, that exists.
Does it already exist?
I listened to a podcast on it. There's a family that piloted it. The dad had some terminal illness, and they signed up while he was dying. He answered questions, and they interviewed the mom and dad while he was still living, and they were like, when you're gone, there is a model of you that exists now that your wife can be like, do you remember when we took our trip to blah blah blah? And they can just reminisce. The kids, his voice, and they asked the dying dude like, hey, how do you feel about this? And because they had to get his consent. This was like a state of the art, and he was like,
Dang.
my family will have a piece of me. It's like a living almost journal, and they can still interact with me. Bro, that's crazy. Like,
they have
there's an ethical aspect to that. Like,
they have the Black Mirror episodes based on that, and that's crazy because Black Mirror is supposed to be forward leading, to showing the dark sides of technology, and we're already coming up on it.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Welcome to the dark side, baby. Yeah. So.
Is that? I feel like that's not gonna be good. Because like let's say that, right? Like let's say my I'm not gonna even put my name into it because I don't want to put anything into the world. But let's say a gentleman and a lady is married, they have a kid, and they sign up for this. So the guy has his 37-year-old in this device,
Mhm.
and something unfortunate happens to him, and the wife is, let's say, 32
Mhm.
with a kid, right? If she carries on this device, like, she may never be able to not let go, but like to move forward,
Correct.
right? Like, life happens, and it's okay
Yeah.
to remorse and think about the past, but you got to
Mhm.
move on at some point, unless you're at a stage where you're not looking to get remarried.
Mhm.
But let's say she is like, hey, like, my son needs a fatherly figure. Like, I want to be happy again to be with someone. And then the next boyfriend she gets, he sees that she's carrying her previous husband's, like, pretty much
Personality, his
his.
essence.
It's like, how would you feel? Like,
Well, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But you're right.
that's not good. I don't
I
think
don't
it's
think
gonna
that's
be good.
mentally healthy. Yeah, I don't think.
Because this was like when I was a kid, so there's not too much technology involved in it. But like, I watched this show where there was a family that kept one of the, like, dead bodies in an open casket. There was like a see-through casket
Yeah.
in their living room,
Oh God.
and they just always kept him, either him or her.
That's super morbid. Yeah, I think that's crossing a couple other lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't advise that. But these are all possible budding ideas, things that are here, that are becoming public, that are being developed, that are going to be a reality. So like, we got to talk about them. That's what you got us for. Here to talk about all the nonsense. Yeah, but I think again, no solid take one way or the other on AI. Just wanted to kind of open this can of worms on this specific topic today for artificial intelligence and what we know of it to be today. So I think we got some good talking points for sure.
Yeah, I would. This is definitely another episode that we'll
Oh my
follow
God,
up
100%.
in at a later point, probably, hopefully within a year or something, or maybe next year in August, or on August.
This time frame, just to see like where we're at in the year of development. Yeah.
And if we can grab some AI expert to just
Oh my
expand
God,
on
I
the
would
things
love-
that we're trying to talk about.
I would love that.
Yeah.
We should have you read any books on AI?
No.
We should read one together. We should pick one at some point, and we should.
Okay.
I
we can
also
do that.
haven't, so that's just like a new topic for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, like, the field is so new too that it's
It
going to be
is.
hard to like find a credible, like, forward-looking AI and what's the capability of that.
You're right.
Yeah.
But I know there's some good literature.
Yeah.
out there.
We'll look into it.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. Hey, that's all we got for you. Who knows? This could not even be us. These could be two generated characters that were just talking to y'all this whole time. And that's the crazy part. You don't even know.
Yeah.
But we'll leave you with that. Until next time, two favorite rebels. That's all we got.